with us today. I hope we are all excited to get into the webinar of today and to learn why we must specialize in cybersecurity and how to know the best path for us. So my name is Oluwatobi Okafor. I am a cybersecurity professional. I work with analytics as a senior cybersecurity specialist. I believe that now that I'm doing myself, I can ask us to also do the same for me in the chat box. So I'd like to get to know us. I can see Stanley on my screen. So I'm going to ask everybody to please tell me their name, where they're joining us from, and what they currently do or what field they currently work in. Okay, I'll be waiting for our answers. Hey, I'm going to be checking the chats right now, so I'm able to see. All right, all right. Okay, amazing. Hi, Princess. Great, this is amazing. Hi, Chris. Hi, Christian. Yes. Hello. Hello, Christian. It's good to have you on this session. Hi, Justice. Justice Akasan. I like your surname. Sounds really nice. I like it. Nice. Thank you for joining us, Justice. Thank you. Okay. Okay, Bibiano. Hi, Emmanuel. Hi, Uluwakemi. Hi, Christine. Oh, you're my namesake, Uluwatobi. It's nice to have you here. Oh, congratulations. Congratulations on finishing your AWS. That's awesome. I promise you. I know, right? 3 times AWS is not funny, but it's fun. Well done, well done, well done. Congratulations to you, Uluwatobi. It's great to have you here. It's amazing to have you all here. Okay, so while I wait for my remaining participants to tell me their names and where they're joining me from and what they currently do, I'd like us to get into it. Hi, Samuel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so I believe that we are all here because we know that we want to specialize in cybersecurity, right? But a lot of times, I think that we actually choose a career path and we're not especially sure based off of what we are currently doing, if it is right for us, and we're not even established our why. Okay, one of the things I emphasize on to people that join our program is to always have a why. The reason why we emphasize having a why is not because we want to, oh, have you say, oh, this is why I'm doing this is why I'm doing that. No, it's so that when the going gets tough, you have or you remember the reason why you started, and then you're able to use that to finish. Now, it might sound like I'm preaching, but I promise you I'm not. It's just that I have learned over time, especially in the course of my career, that if you don't know why you are in that space, I don't care what career you're currently in, I promise you that we are all on the same boat. If you are, I believe Kristen is a data engineer, right? I also believe that I have Princess rather, not had. I have Princess that is in healthcare. Now, if you don't have a why for being in a particular space, there's a limit to how long you will enjoy staying in that space and how well you would thrive, right? In that space. Am I correct? Do we have anybody that disagrees with what I've just said so far? Oh, hi, Violet. Hi, Charity. Hi, Fumilola. Hi, Condile. Condile, did I pronounce your name properly? Is it Condile or Condile? Oh, okay. Violet is joining from work. That's all right, Violet. That's all right. Hi, Samuel again. Okay, yes. Thank you, Princess. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So before I go too far, my colleague is going to be dropping attendance registration forms in the chat box. And the purpose of that is so that when we are done with this session, you are able to have access to both the materials and this recording. So you can actually take for those of us that are not able to speak or ask questions in depth whilst the session is going on. All right. So please bear with my colleague as she drops it so that you are able to have access. That's the goal of the attendance forms. All right. Thank you so much, guys. So let us get into it. Like I was saying, the purpose of you having a why is so that you are able to actively know what you are doing and why you're doing what you're doing. Now, in cybersecurity or in any field at all, yeah, once you get in, you think, oh, if I just do this, I can do this and I will do this, I will get this. But they're doing the job or getting the job is not just our own sole purpose. You enjoying the job because you got into it for your known why. Now, I have a saying here, there is no right or wrong whys. Okay, so I'd like to ask us right now, if money was not a factor and say where you stay was not also a factor, do you still think that you would choose the current career you are currently in, or you would actually go into cybersecurity or into an area of cybersecurity that matches your current strength? Now, I know my question sounds confusing. I'm asking a clear question, okay? So what I'm asking is, if you didn't have to worry about money, if you didn't have to worry about where you stay or who you are being a factor, would you go into cybersecurity regardless of what specialty you pick, or would you pick a specialty in cybersecurity that matches your strengths, what you enjoy doing, and who you think you are or who you currently are? Do you answer my question now? Do you get my question now? Okay, hi, okay. Okay, Osai. Hi. I'm waiting for our answers, please. I'm waiting for our answers. If you didn't have to worry about your funds or who you are, as in whether you are white or black or whatever it is that the world uses as a gauge right now, and whether you live in Africa or whether you live in Australia or whether you live in the UAE or Qatar, for instance, and the only thing that matters is, okay, I want to pick cybersecurity as a whole, or I want to pick an area in cybersecurity that I believe I would enjoy doing because I am lively, I'm sanguine, I'm friendly, or my purpose in life is to help people, or my purpose in life is to stay in the background but protect people. Which one do you think would work for you? Specialize in an area that fits you, or just do anything at all? What would you do? I'm waiting for our answers. I'm waiting for our answers, please. Hi, Stanley. Oh, that's all right, Stanley. That's all right. Thank you for joining. I'm waiting. I'm waiting on you, Princess. I'm waiting on you, Chris. I know that Violet might not be able to like type regularly, but I'm also waiting. Hopefully, I'll get answers from all of us. Hi, Stanley. I hope you heard my question. Are you able to like reply? Same goes to you, Osai. Samuel, I'm waiting. Hi, Fola. Hi. I hope you all heard my question. Oh. I hope you all heard my question and understand it. Okay, beautiful. So, Maruf, my question is simple. Yeah, my question was that if you didn't have to worry about money, if you didn't have to worry about who you were, like if you're black or white or whatever, and if where you were still, like your location did not matter, would you just pick cybersecurity for the what's the fun of it, or would you niche down and specialize in an area that suits you, that fits your personality, that fits your likes, your dislikes, and the things that you typically enjoy doing? That was my question, Maruf. Beautiful. Thank you, Charity. Yeah, see? You see? Thank you, Stanley. Thank you. Thank you. See? That's the amazing thing about cybersecurity. Yeah, there is there's always an area in cybersecurity that would fit you. People will come in and say, I don't want to be a cybersecurity professional. And we at Analysts are trying to dissuade that notion. We're trying to change people from just, oh, I want cybersecurity to I want to specialize in cybersecurity and make it in such a way that whatever I'm doing there actually matters both to me and to the people around me and the world at large. And that is the beauty of cybersecurity. Whether you are coming in as a compliance person, whether you're coming in as a health person like Princess, whether you're coming as a data-oriented person, an engineer like Chris, or you're coming in as a generalist, right? Be a generalist. There's a space for you in cybersecurity. That's the fun and beauty of cybersecurity. I promise you. Now, before I go too far, I want to tell us about the people that brought us together here today. That's Tenalytics. Okay. So I know that we already know Tenalytics is the leading edtech in what's it called? Teaching people about technology and giving them proper skills and helping them to gain usable and experiential knowledge. Yeah. But I also would like us to know that whilst we are also the leading edtech, we also have over 4 years of building talents in the technological workforce, and we have helped a large number of people. I'm talking over 2,800 people that have currently transitioned from being regular people and or people in a different field entirely into people who are able to stand on their feet and actually be amazing at their tech jobs across the globe. And we are actively, like very, very actively committed to making the technological sector more accessible through premium and experiential training. And obviously, you know by now that we train in cybersecurity. That's like a thing, right? A big thing. Yes, great. We also train in data analytics, we train business analysis, we train data engineering, we do data science, we do financial analytics, and so much more. And you see, the best part about our kind of training is that we are actually accredited, not just in Nigeria, Africa, and across the board, but we are acknowledged and accredited in the Americas. So the American Council of Training and Development actually acknowledges every certificate that we give out from our organization. So it means that if you are in North America, if you are in Europe, wherever you are, and somebody says, oh, you said you trained in cybersecurity, can I see your certificate? And you present it, they'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, I think that this organization actually is a recognized one. And the funny part is, if you actually go on AI and you search for top edtech companies as in leading edtech companies in the world, then this will come up on the list. That's how awesome our programs are, right? And obviously, you know now, we come with the best team of instructors. We do not bring nonsense to the table. We bring awesomeness to the table when it comes to our trainers and our instructors, our facilitators, our mentors, everybody that's involved in making you the best of the best, actually also the best of the best themselves in their own field. So let me quickly also tell you about myself, all right? Real quick. So my name is Oluwatobi Okafo, and I am a cybersecurity professional who will be known as an information security specialist or information security analyst. Now, I have years of experience with vulnerability assessment, threat modeling, threat profiling, threat detection, pen testing, cloud security, and SecOps. I'm an ISC2 member. I have certifications from CCNA, from CNSP. Also, I have my CAP, my CAPN, right? I have the ISO IEC 27001 certification amongst many certifications we have. And like I told my friend earlier, AWS is one of those, as well as the Azure certifications. And yes, cybersecurity is fun and all, but I promise you, certification did not lead my journey. It was an addendum to my journey, okay? And if you look at my profile here, you realize that I actually had gone through a lot of learning, a lot of projects, a lot of working with people before I actually started, okay, let me start having certifications so that people don't think, oh, she's not serious about her journey. You know, Africans, we are big on having certificates and all of that, right? So that's why internationalists are trying to change the narrative so people understand that, yes, certificates are good, but experience, skills are greater. Okay, nice, amazing. So why exactly are we here today? Why exactly are we gathered today? We're gathered because first and foremost, we want to understand why you should specialize in cybersecurity. Yeah, it's great to come in and all, but the best thing to be is someone who has, like Princess wants to be, an understanding of every field in cybersecurity, and then by themselves are able to now go ahead and choose a path that best suits them in the entire career field. Okay, so after understanding why we want to specialize in cybersecurity, we're also going to discuss the best path for you and the skills that match that path. All right, great. Then another thing we'll also be touching on is the fact that Tenalytics also offers a growth internship program. So after you have actually gotten your training, you will then go ahead to intern with an affiliated tech organization, tech company that would train you properly and give you projects, live projects that you would work on that would help add to your portfolio to show to your employers. I like to call them employers and not potential employers. All right. So to show to your employers that yes, you have the training, and yes, you have the skills, and yes, you also have the experience. Yeah. And the best part about today's session is that we also have a special discount offer for you. Okay. Come along with me. Amazing. All right, all right, all right. Okay, so I was saying earlier that we are trying to encourage a lot of people to understand that, yes, certification is great, but skills and experience are actually always going to be greater, right? So this is the reason why we're doing this is because we have come to realize that, especially in this day and age of very fast and a very quickly evolving tech skills, tech openings, as well as what's the word now? Threats, cyber threats that are coming up part-time, right? A lot of organizations are no longer waiting for you to have certificates. A lot of them are actually going to pay. They are willing to pay out of pocket for you to get certifications. They don't care if you don't have all certificates in the world. They care that you have the skill set that you say you have or that they need, and the experience, at least at the very least, a little bit of experience to show that the skills you said you have done projects, you have projects to show for the skills you say you have a little bit of work experience to show for the skills that you say you have. And how do I know this? Don't just believe me. You can actually check Microsoft right now. Microsoft's Bill Gates post on X. I think he even posted about last week about the fact that they're no longer focusing solely on how many certifications you have, but how good you are at your job. Like, how amazing are you that AI would not replace your job? Yeah, that's exactly how Bill Gates is talking about jobs in the near future. Same with Elon Musk. We know how weird these billionaires are and these tech gurus are. So for them to come out and tell you that, oh, we don't really care whether you went to school or not. We don't really care what big school you went to or what big name company you say you are working for currently. What we care about is that, can you show us projects? Can you show us workings that you have done with regards to this area that you say you want to work in, right? So now imagine one of the biggest or some of the biggest tech gurus saying that. That should reassure you that this is actually a thing in this current day and climb. If you notice, a lot of times you'd go online and you will see a 17-year-old being a cybersecurity professional, you'd see a 22-year-old, you see a 30-year-old. I have a friend that's is going to be 64 this year's September, and he started cybersecurity in 2022. Right now, he is a GRC analyst. He's like big in his game and all of that. He's one of the people that people go after to ask for help with one or two things. Like, he niched down. He knows that according to him, he's not a fan of having to start worrying about monitoring, that's his SecOps, or he doesn't want to have to worry about forensics, that's his digital forensics, doesn't want to have to worry about knowing how to read code. Yeah, he can actually read code. I promise you, he actually learned PHP and Python, right? But he was like, that he wants something that he can just relax and do in his time. He then chose GRC as his niche, as his specialization, because according to him, he's very good at talking to stakeholders, talking in boardrooms, explaining to them why this cybersecurity threat is actually going to be problematic and cost the organization money. And he's also very good at training employees, training people. So he used all of his own strengths after learning all about cybersecurity, after learning every major domain in cybersecurity. He then used his own personal likes and strengths to now choose an area that suits his strength. Do you understand? So what I meant for him is that before any person will come and say, oh, do you know how to do A or B or C? He already says, I know how to perform ethical hacking or pen testing. I know how to monitor in a SOC environment. I know how to perform threat intelligence, but I am also very great at GR. The beauty of how we train at analytics. Yes, we make you an all-rounder and then encourage you to go ahead and niche down. Now, the beauty of this is that at the end of the day, you are able to pick and choose exactly what area you want to work in. Why? Because you actually have the skill sets of every major domain and you can work anywhere. Okay? That's the beauty of this. All right, so let us get into it. I'd like us to answer this question with me. All right. So what exactly is cybersecurity? A lot of us have said cybersecurity, that cybersecurity is, I believe this or I believe that. So I'd like you to hear what you believe cybersecurity is in your own words. I know that I have said here on my slides that cybersecurity is the practice of protecting systems, networks, and data from digital attacks or cyber attacks, as the case may be. But I'd like to hear what you believe cybersecurity is. And when I say what you believe, I mean in your own words. So if your 5-year-old or if your 5-year-old niece or 5-year-old word comes to you and says, "Hi, auntie, hi, uncle, what exactly do you do? What is cybersecurity?" What would you tell them? What would you tell them it is? I'm waiting for us. I'm waiting for us in the chat section or in the comment section. I'd like to see what we believe cybersecurity is in our own words. Nice, nice. Thank you, Pearl. Yes, yes, it is the act of protecting data. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Abiodun. Yes, it's making network safe. Perfect. Thank you, Samuel. Yes, protecting the cyberspace from hackers. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Yes, I like what I'm seeing. I like what I'm seeing. So yeah, that is actually the basis or the foundation of cybersecurity. Yes, Fola, you are correct. Cybersecurity is to ensure data safety. Yes, Stanley, is to protect systems against cyber threats. Ooh, I like this. I like this. Thank you, Emmanuel. Cybersecurity is about preventing financial loss to an organization from hackers. Yes, 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 yes. I love the answers I'm seeing. I know the funny thing and the fun thing about all of your answers, they are all correct. Every single one of them are actually correct. And you know the best part about all of this is that from what everybody has said so far, I'm able to actually connect what you have said to the foundations or the pillar of cybersecurity. Now, we call the pillar of cybersecurity the CIA triad. That is confidentiality, integrity, and availability, right? So if I use what Emmanuel has said about preventing financial loss, that's where confidentiality comes into play, right? If I use what Violet has said about protecting personal information and data, that's where integrity comes into play. If I use what, let me see, yes, if I use what Abiodun has said about cybersecurity, that's where confidentiality and availability come into play, because if the network is safe, it means that those who need to use the network actually always have access to it. That's where availability comes into play. And then because of confidentiality, it is actually giving them correct and precise answers per time. So thank you so much, everyone. You have done amazingly great. Thank you so much. Yes. So like I said in my slide here, I said that the goal of cybersecurity is to ensure that every data that is within the organization that you are working with is actually, first of all, only accessed by those who have the authority and the authentication for it. It is not modified by an unauthorized personnel, and it is always available as and when it is needed by the authorized and authenticated users, or what's it called, professionals, right? Great. Now, let us look at why we're talking so much about cybersecurity. So we know what cybersecurity is, right? Now, why cybersecurity? Why are we choosing cybersecurity? Yeah, great. So I believe we know that cybersecurity careers are now like very, very sought after. Am I correct? So we know that primarily this is due to the fact that there's a constant and consistent need for specialized professionals that can help protect sensitive informations and systems, right? And then the demand of these roles actually is consistently reflected in how high the salaries that are being offered to professionals are becoming, right? Because now we have the advent of AI, we have the use of cloud, we have organizations moving their data to cloud. There's so many loopholes, so many weaknesses, so many openings or porous openings popping up now. The attackers are now trying and obviously taking advantage of, that is requiring specialized professionals to be able to help protect that cyberspace efficiently, right? And that is why you see that there is now high salaries being offered to people that know their onions in this role. And then within that, in this industry itself, there's also diverse job opportunities. So you say, oh, I came in as a cybersecurity specialist, or I came in as an information security specialist, and I'm being offered offensive pen testing roles. Yes, you are offered a pen testing role because people have looked at what you have done so far, and they are realizing that, oh, this person is really, really great or really, really good at making places safe by finding the problems before they become known publicly. People would offer you offensive fantasy roles, yeah, because in that kind of situation, or kind of role rather, professionals actually simulate attacks, yeah, and the goal of the attacks is to identify and report weaknesses or what we call vulnerabilities in the systems. Now, at times, you realize that when you get into this role, you'll be offered a lot of defensive security roles. And why? Because it has been noticed that, oh, you are good at monitoring, you are good at looking at traffic and saying, the problem with this traffic, something is not right with the behavior of this traffic, right? And what that means is that you are able to quickly spot problematic incidents and help protect systems to prevent attacks. And then you're also one of the people that will help investigate incidents or happenings. And the goal is to help prevent future attacks. Now, the beauty of this kind of approach in cybersecurity is that at the end of the day, every organization will have like a proper and a wholesome security posture. That means they are well-grounded, they are surrounded, and because they have they have Princess, who is very big on simulating attacks to ensure that, oh, nobody's able to get access into their space. And the beauty of being a generalist in cybersecurity that you're what we call a purple teamer. Purple teamer is someone that does both offensive and defensive cybersecurity, and that means that they are able to both simulate attacks and also what's it called, defend. So they're able to do both at once efficiently, right? That's what someone like Princess would eventually look into being or focus into being, because she says she wants to be a generalist. All right, great. And then the best part of the entire thing is the fact that the industry is currently facing a very, very significant workforce gap. And in our recent research, it was found, and especially in reports, that there's about 3.5 million unfilled positions. And this shows you exactly how important this field is and how many various pathways actually available for everyone that wants to build their skills and advance their careers in cybersecurity. Now, the beauty of cybersecurity roles is that there's so many advantages, okay? And the fact is, like I said before, you have high pay. You have alpha, the fact that it's also very, very exciting. Yes, you're getting well paid, but you're not even eager to go to bed, or you are eager to wake up quite early because you know that, oh, once I wake up, I'm going to continue investigating a particular incident that happened and figure out how to block it. So let me give you a real life instance that happened to me and my friends. I'm talking in less than a week ago. Okay, so a lady came on X, or formerly called Twitter, and she said something about the fact that she was trying to send, I think, 35K to her friend, and the money bounced, right? It didn't go through. So it didn't come back to her own account, but it didn't go to her friend's account. So she was really worried, and she posted about it on X because she tried to call the bank several times, right? And the bank didn't respond. So she came on X to ask the bank to please respond to her emails, right? And a fraudulent page that pretended to be the bank actually responded to her and asked for her credentials. Now, she unknowingly gave out her credentials, and within minutes, I'm talking 30 minutes, she lost about 1.5 million. Okay, in her lamentations, we found out that she was actually a friend of a friend, because normally cybersecurity professionals don't go out of our way to say, oh, let us help you fix it, because it is actually not what's the word, authorized. Like, you have to have permissions, authorizations, a lot of things have to go in place before you actually actively do what we call recon, and you find whoever it is that is causing the problem, right? So the person that owns the original account has to give you expressly written permission. So when the friend that was like close to the person that was involved in this issue came out to us and said, oh, guys, this is my person, and this is the issue, and this is the issue. We, as my friend, my friends and I now asked her for permission, and she was like, we can go ahead. Yeah. And the fact that one of the banks involved in the transactions or the movement of the funds was actually giving express permissions for us to go ahead and try to what's it called, get back the funds. Yeah. And I promise you, in about 72 hours, I guess, yeah, so say three days thereabouts, we're able to actually retrieve about 1.3+ million of the money that went. The reason why I was not able to get everything immediately was because obviously now the first time we started withdrawing a set of amounts from the funds, and that's because there's a limit on how much you can withdraw per day in Nigeria, right? So I guess that's what did not allow them to move all of those funds at once. Yeah. So we were able to retrieve about 1.3-ish of the funds. And with the help of the bank, we were able to retrieve the rest in about, I think, another 2 days. But the fact that we were able to hit the ground running and we knew what to do, we knew where to start, we knew where to go, is a function of skill. And it shows how exciting this job actually is. You see how I'm grinning from ear to ear. It was actually fun. It was exciting because there's a lot of things that went into it, but I don't want to share here because of what's it called, NDAs and all of that. But I promise you, so from ethical hacking to SecOps to digital forensics to incident response to GRC, there is no niche, there's no specialization you pick in cybersecurity that you will not have fun and enjoy doing. I promise you. And like I said before, there's always demand for your skills. There is always going to be demand for your skills. Why do I say always? Because if you notice in the tech world today, builders are always building, founders are always building new things. They're always building new tech. There's even a new trend nowadays that they say vibe coding. And every time cybersecurity professionals hear vibe coding, we laugh. We laugh weekly because it means more money for us. Because when you vibe code, it means that you didn't actually build the code yourself. So you don't even know whether you have built secure code, and you're not absolutely sure that the code that you said you build is actually doing what you asked it to do effectively. So imagine somebody building a portal or an application, whether it's a web application or not, or a server, right, with vibe coding, where they didn't write any of the code by themselves. AI wrote all of the code. And there's a limit to what AI can do. So whether it's generative AI, whether it's agentic AI, there's a limit to what this AI bots can do in terms of proper validation, proper sanitization, properly securing your code and all of that. That's why the humans will never run out of business, right? So in this particular session, you build a full-on financial application, for instance, and then you build it on vibe coding. I promise you, give or take 3 days, the bad actors will actively come at your application and they would use it to play. And I'm not talking from maybe or when or if. I'm talking about when. Yeah, and when I say when, I'm saying it because it actually also happened. And the reason I like talking about real life events is so that you can actually go and fact check and see why I say you will never not be able to get a job in cybersecurity. It is not possible because there will always be a developer who is lazy about how they build their web application. There will always be an admin who didn't properly configure their environment, their network environment, or their system. There would always be a user or a staff member who is either disgruntled or misled and would expose their credentials in a phishing scam. There's always going to be that person that will allow your job to continue to exist. Okay, so that's why I'm saying it's an exciting career to be in, because you are absolutely sure that as long as you have the skills and you continue to like do your job with your utmost what's the word, energy, you will always have a role somewhere to play. Okay, great. Now let us look at the cybersecurity specializations that are actually great for you. Now, remember when I asked you earlier about what you do and what area you're in and all of that? This is the reason why I did that. Okay. Now we have different niches or specializations in cybersecurity. Now, the reason why I was talking to us earlier about picking a niche or an area or specialization that suits your personality or your likes and your dislikes or your moral code is because of how beautifully arranged cybersecurity field is. Like I said before, if you are a data person, you're somebody that is very good at monitoring things, checking things, understanding and ensuring that things are proper, there's a space for cybersecurity. I promise you. If you're someone that is very big on policies, procedures, things have to go this way and that way, they have to be properly done, there's a compliance space for you. There is nothing you are currently doing that you cannot translate and move with proper direction into cybersecurity. I promise you. Now let us start with security engineers. Now, security engineers are the builders, quote and unquote. They are the builders, they are the architects, they're the construction workers of cybersecurity. So what do? They develop and they implement security solutions, and they use threats and vulnerability data. Okay, so what happens is that they source this data from the other members of the security workforce. So they'll go to pen testers, they'll go to threat intelligence analysts, they'll go to malware analysts, they'll go to security operations or SOC analysts. the other different fields, they'll go to them and get information about the vulnerabilities that are currently obtainable and use that to then build and implement security solutions that would help preempt and prevent those vulnerabilities or threats from becoming a reality in the organization's environment. Okay, like I said before, they actually work across board, and their goal is to circumvent every type of attack. So I'm talking web application attacks, network threat attacks, evolving trends and tactics. So what we call the MITRE attacks. Do you understand? So, and then their ultimate goal actually is to make sure that they are able to retain and adopt security measures that would help to mitigate the risks of attack and data loss for their organization. And their major responsibilities are to test and screen security measures of software that the organization is using or across the software, to monitor networks and to report and make reports rather that would help to update systems and prevent, or what we call mitigate, vulnerabilities, as well as to identify and implement systems needed for optimal security, right? So basically, they are the architects and the builders. No, don't get me wrong. They're actually people that we refer to as security architects. But a lot of times, these roles are actually combined. So instead of just being the engineer that builds, so when you're saying, oh, I'm going to the construction site, though, I want to go and see the engineer. In cybersecurity, this is our engineer. All right, great. Next, we have the security analyst or the SecOps professional, right? This is the SOC analyst that is very, very, very important to the security measures that the security engineers have built. So yes, they have built the solutions, they have built the space, they have implemented the software and all of that. Now, security analysts are the people that would help to monitor in real time. Yeah, so they're like the medical professionals of the cybersecurity field. They're the ones that are constantly monitoring, constantly mitigating, constantly responding, yeah, to potential threats, to potentially what's it called, dangerous trends, or to even potentially what's it called, dangerous attacks. Yeah, they're the ones that are looking at the traffic and saying, this is looking very weird. This is looking very suspicious. I need to report it. Or why is somebody trying to log in 1,000 times in 1 minute? Now, we are all human beings, right? Do you think it is possible? Like, I'm asking now, do you think it is possible? Do you think it's possible to actually log into any page by yourself with your own hands 1,000 times in a minute? I'm asking now. Does anybody here think it's, aha, thank you, Philomena. It's impossible. It's impossible, right? Great. That is where the SOC analysts or the security analysts actually come in. They know it's impossible. They have seen that it's impossible. So from being able to practice and do different things and learn about the different tools and potentially dangerous attack styles, they now know that, okay, this is definitely an attack about to happen. Okay, they know that, oh, somebody's trying to gain forceful entrance, what we call brute force in cybersecurity, forceful entrance into our environment. They will now flag it and block it. That's why we call them the frontliners. They're the ones that first see what is coming and stop it. Yeah, great. Now I want to answer Condile's question. Yeah, she said, you asked if we can secure a job after the course. Yes, yes, yes. That is actually the purpose of making your training what's it called, experientially focused and project-based and work-focused. We don't focus on a lot of theory. Yes, theory exists, but that's not the focus of how we train you into analytics. All right, thank you for that question, Kondile. All right, now that we have seen our SOC analysts who, like I like to say, are the frontliners, they are the ones that help to uncover actionable data. They're the ones that would look at data and say, there's a problem here, and this is problematic. So these are the things we're going to be telling the engineers to put in place to help prevent this problem from happening again, right? And the beauty of this role is that it's going to be combining your ability to talk to stakeholders, to talk to people, to explain to the people with the money exactly why these issues must be solved, right? It's going to combine that your skills that you are able to use to like sweet talk people and combine your skills of monitoring, of being able to see a problem from analyzing data together. So it means that, yes, you were in another field before, but in this field, you are still using every skill set that you have, right, effectively. And that's like a lot of fun. I promise you, it's a lot of fun. Next is a malware analyst role. And malware analysts are actually those people that take their time to analyze suspicious programs. So the SOC analysts are seeing the program. They are wary of it, so they have blocked it, right? They then send it to the malware analyst and like, okay, we have found this issue. Tell us what you think is going on with this issue. Say, for instance, a phishing email came in to the organization, the SOC analysts have seen it and they blocked it. Now, they won't take the time to be analyzing it. They don't have that time. They have to go back to monitoring, right? So they send this kind of programs to the malware analyst, and then the malware analyst would now sit with it, discover what that particular program is supposed to be doing in terms of threats and potential disruptions, and then they will write reports about their findings. And we typically call malware analysts, at times we call them reverse engineers, because at times they will sit with that program and then reverse the program's purpose, and take it back. Do you understand? And the goal of that is to be able to understand exactly what is going on with that program and build a solution that will prevent it. Do you understand? And the work that a malware analyst will typically do is to sit with a program and carry out what we call static analysis. So they're not running the program, they're just checking it and looking around within this code to see what it was built for, what the aim of that program was to come and do within their own organization. And then they can also go ahead and conduct dynamic analysis. So what that means is that they will run the program in what we call sandbox environments or controlled environments or safe spaces. Yeah. And the goal is to, okay, I said that this program is a Trojan, right? A Trojan is a software that pretends to be doing something as a legitimate looking kind of role. Maybe it's supposed to be like a cleaner, a phone cleaner tool or app. And then it also has an extra malware that is probably supposed to be harvesting all your credentials and sending to the attacker. So say, for instance, every time you run the phone cleaner in your phone, and you go ahead and log into your bank, for instance, it captures your bank credentials and sends to the attacker. Every time you clean your phone and you say you try to log into your email, for instance, or you log into your emails, it captures the credentials and sends to the attacker. So we usually call this kind of software RATs. That is random access Trojans, right? Or do you get? So the name is funny, but cybersecurity is like that. We have very funny acronyms in cybersecurity. And last but not least, a malware analyst will actually also document. Now, in cybersecurity, documentation is like key. Is the biggest thing you have to do at any point in time. You have to always document your findings. Now, the beauty of our kind of training is that we also teach you how to write proper and professional reports. So at every domain, at every point in time, you are learning, okay, this is the type of report you're writing when you're writing for SOC, the type of report you're writing when you're writing for threat intelligence, the type of report you write for GRC, or the type of report you write for pen testing. So you know with us what exactly fits what scenario. So you're not left stranded or left to just think about it by yourself whilst you're still learning. All right. Now, we have looked at what a malware analyst can do. And I believe that at this point, you're already trying to match it to what you currently have skills with. We'll talk about the soft skills you also need. And I believe a number of us, I think every one of us actually would have these skill sets already in our repertoire. Yeah. Great. Next, we have pen testers. Now, I love saying the fact that I am first and foremost a pen tester, and then everything else I do comes after. Why? Because a pen tester is that person that is also called an ethical hacker. And our job is to go into spaces, especially when we have full permission to go into spaces and test the security of systems, softwares, and applications within organization. And we do this by multiple attempts, right? And the goal is to uncover flaws, to uncover vulnerabilities, and we systematically hack that system. Now, remember I said it before, ethical hacking. That means we have permission, we have authorization, we have rules of engagement, right? Now, pen testers' role is basically to exploit vulnerabilities, and the goal is to evaluate the risk. So I tell you that, oh, I found out that if your users come on your web page, for instance, and they click on a specific icon, it redirects them to another website that is not your own. That's a vulnerability. That's problematic because it means that your users are going to somebody else's website that you don't know about. And what that implies is that their credentials or their log usernames and passwords are potentially obtained by someone that you do not know about. Yeah. So when we exploit this vulnerability, we are now able to show you and your organization that this is a problem. Please, these are the ways you are going to be able to fix them. We don't just find the problem. We don't just exploit the problem. We also show you actionable steps on how to fix the problem. Now, a pen tester will typically conduct these tests on computer systems, on networks, on web-based applications. We would also perform security assessments and audits and analyze the policies that are in place in the organization. And they would also go ahead and evaluate and then report. They would report on what they have found and recommend actionable measures for attack prevention. Okay, now you see how fun it sounds, right? Great, nice. So let us look at what other role actually matches your personality or your likes. Great. We have security compliance or the GRC analyst. Yeah. Now for security compliance, yeah, what this means is that, oh, apologies, please. I think I missed out on the digital forensics examiner. Let me quickly run us through what that is. Yeah. So for a digital forensics examiner is basically if you're someone that likes crime shows, for instance, or you like finding out what the problem is, or you are a Nancy Drew fan, you're an Asidru fan that loves to find why there's a problem and fix it. So you like to play detective, then this is a perfect job for you. It's a perfect role for your person. Why? Because you're going to be working as part of the law enforcement department and you will be focused on collecting and analyzing evidence to help solve crimes. So I'm talking not just cyber crimes, but at times physical crimes that involve digital devices as well. Yeah. So your goal is to help charge the guilty and help free or exonerate the innocent. Yeah. Now, on the other hand, yeah, if your work falls under defending a company's network rather, you will then be using your forensic skills to help them analyze incidents and you help them look at things like the policy violations within the organization and maybe you insider threats amongst other types of potential threats that an organization can have. Okay, and what will you be doing as a digital forensics examiner? First and foremost, you will collect digital evidence whilst observing legal procedures. What I mean by that is for everything you do, yeah, you have to follow a legally agreed upon process. Yeah. And then you also go ahead and analyze what you have collected. As the digital evidence you collected, you're going to analyze them to find answers related to the case you are on, and then you document your findings and report on the case. So like I said before, it might sound like a regular job, but I promise you with a digital forensics, if you focus on digital forensics, you can work anywhere. You can work in academia, you can work in police, what's it called, law enforcement, you can work in the courts, you can work in a regular organization. As in, there's no way you want to enter into, you cannot work in as a digital forensics examiner. Great, isn't it? Nice, 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 good. So let us go back and look at the security compliance or GRC analyst. So now a typical GRC analyst actually would focus on the organization's policies, what their procedures, and the purpose of this is to help the organization to actually what's it called, be compliant or adhere to regulatory requirements. So every region in the world has what we call data privacy laws, data privacy acts, and whatnot, right? Now, they also have what we call regulations and standards. Yes. So what a GRC analyst or a compliance professional will do for you as a person, organization, or a county, because you can work in government, you can work in regular organizations, you can work for industries, not just a small organization, but industries. That's how amazing that role is. Yeah. So what you're going to be doing is, okay, I am currently in the UK. What laws would guide my organization with regards to cyber usage? We have the Computer Misuse Act for the UK. Now, if you're in somewhere else in EU, in the EU, for instance, we have the GDPR, that is the General Data Protection Regulation, right, for EU. Then if you are in the US, depending on where you are in the US, some parts of US have a different data law, but California has specific and very, very stringent laws. Yeah, you will help your organization understand, okay, yes, you are in the US, but because you're in California, their own laws take precedence over whatever other laws you need to adhere to. Yeah. Now, if you are now in the US and you are in the health sector, like Princess, for instance, you have what we call the HIPAA law. So every other law with regards to data and data privacy takes a back step or back seat to the HIPAA law in the US. So it means that yes, you are in the US. Yes, they have data privacy laws, but because you are dealing with an health care industry or you're dealing with an healthcare organization, you have to also adhere to the HIPAA regulations, which have a lot of rules, including you cannot tell somebody else the thing that the patient is going through without their written permission. That's how fun that one is. Like if they don't write it down, they can come back and claim that they didn't give permission to do it, and they will sue the organization and they will get paid. And all of these regulations, even Nigeria has their own. Nigeria has what we call the NDPA, right? The Data Protection Act of 2025, I guess. Yes. Okay, so every region has theirs. Some regions like Australia have extra stringent laws that say that you cannot move their data of their citizens out of Australia. So even if you are running an organization in India, for instance, as long as you have Australian staff on your staff or you work with Australian clients, you have to house their data in Australia. That's a very stringent rule, right? So this is where a GRC and a security compliance person comes into play. Their role is to ensure that you as the organization do not flout any of these laws that match your location and your industry. And their goal is to help you make sure that you are constantly compliant, you are meeting all the security standards that have been put in place by where you are and what area you work in as an organization. Yeah. Now, the beauty of both roles is that, or this role is that it's very, very important. It's a very crucial role for any organization. So whether you're in manufacturing, whether you're in construction, whether you are in healthcare, whether you are in food, what's it called, manufacturing or whatever, as long as you have any cause to deal with either payments or you have any cause to deal with private data, we call it PII, personally identifiable information, or PHI, as it's personal health information. As long as you are dealing with any of this kind of sensitive data, you are required to follow the regulations and the laws that govern your industry and where you currently are. That's location-wise, right? So you as the GRC analyst are now going to be helping your organization to make sure that they stay in line with the rules and regulations of where they are, right? And you know how fun it is now to be able to tell your CEO that, sir, you cannot do that because we're currently in the UK, and in the UK, this is against the law. It's a lot of fun, isn't it? Being able to tell your CEO they can't do something because it's against the law. I don't know about you, but I feel like it's going to be a lot of fun to do that. So tell the C-suite they can't do something, or they have to fix something, or they have to change something because of how it would affect the organization. And I promise you, you see these regulatory bodies, they do not play when it comes to fines. They will fine your organization and they must pay that fine. Okay. Now, it's all fun and games, but I promise you, it's actually a very cool role to work within. Now, I'd like us to also look at a few more roles that are amazing for you, as well as your likes and your dislikes, or your personality, like I like to say. Now we have the red teamers. Now people would hear red teaming and think, it's not the same thing as a pen tester. Not really, not really. So red teamers actually share a lot of similarities with pen testers, yeah, but they have a more targeted job role. Now, a pen tester would look for and uncover vulnerabilities across systems, right? And their goal is to keep the cyber defense in good standing. But a red teamer goal is to enact, or is to test rather, the company's ability to detect and respond to threats. So their own is just to imitate how a cyber criminal would act within an organization's environment and emulate malicious attacks, okay? And then stay in that space, or what we call retaining access, and avoid detection. Now, a red teaming assessment can actually go as long as 1 month or 6 months or even 1 year, depending on what the organization is looking for or what result they're trying to get. And usually it is done by an external team that doesn't work within the organization. So you'll be working for a company that their sole purpose is to perform red team exercises for different organizations in different industries. Yeah. And the beauty of this is that you are what we call a consultant. So you're not static. Yeah. You're not static at all. And usually you would work in an organization that have very mature security programs in place. Now, the first thing about being a red teamer is that they are going to be behaving exactly how a threat actor would behave. And they are also going to be helping to assess the organization's security controls, threat intelligence, and incident response procedures that have been put into place. And then they will now go ahead and use what they have found to evaluate and report and help now give the organization actionable data that they can then use to avoid real world instances. Okay? So yes, it sounds like a pen tester, but no, it is not exactly the same thing. All right, great. Now, let us look at the last but not by any means the least specialization that I believe would work for you based on your personality. So we have what we call incident responders. Now, they also work hand in glove with SOC analysts, yeah? But they respond productively and efficiently to security breaches. So a SOC analyst has seen the problem, they have analyzed that it's a problem, they send it to incident responders, right? They've seen that this thing has already occurred. This threat has already occurred, or that has already occurred. Okay. Now, an responder will now go ahead and say, okay, that's happened. Now, how do we fix it? How do we ensure that what we have found was not by any means a continuous kind of attack? It was a one-off thing. Yeah. Then they will now go ahead and check for, okay, how long did it take for us to find this issue? That is what we call the mean time to detect. How long did it take for us to contain this issue, and how long did it take for us to recover from this incident? And then they will now use this information to create what we call the incident response playbooks. And the goal of these playbooks is to ensure that in the situation where they see the beginning signs of this same type of attack again, there is already something written somewhere by these professionals that will tell the organization, once you see 1,000 logins in 1 minute, just block the IP. Don't even bother asking, is it not? Just block the IP. Or once you see that somebody is trying to access our file transfer entry points, just segregate the person or quarantine the person or isolate the person. Or if you notice that Condile's workstation is accessing IP addresses in North Korea at 3 a.m. our time, why is she awake at 3 a.m. when her work hours are actually between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. her time? It is telling me that somebody malicious is trying to use her workstation to gain entry into our environment. Just isolate her workstation until they come back online, and we can now ask them, oh, hi, are you the one that was trying to work at 3 a.m.? Why were you working at 3 a.m.? Please be sleeping, because you will still work during the daytime. Do you understand? So that's exactly the work of an incident responder. They are able to use what has happened to create policies, procedures, and plans and protocols that organizations are now able to use to respond to any type of incident that might happen in future that will follow similar patterns as the one that has already happened. All right? That's how fun an incident responder's job is, because they're basically following up on what the SOC analyst has done and continuing the race. And I also like to touch on the fact that there's also a role that I also like to talk about that is called the threat intelligence analyst role. Now, this is actually what I refer to as the cherry on top type of role, because you can combine this particular job with any role in cybersecurity. You can be a pen tester and a threat intelligence analyst. You can be a SOC analyst and a threat intelligence analyst. You can be a GRC expert and a threat intelligence analyst. That's how fun this role is. Why? Because it is somebody who their focus is on gathering, analyzing, and interpreting information about potential and existing cyber threats to any organization. So what they do is that they will now go ahead and use that information they have gathered to proactively provide solutions that will help protect the organization from attacks, and they will help them stay ahead of emerging threats and vulnerabilities. So basically, a threat intelligence analyst, or a TIA, is what we would like to call the digital weather forecaster. Okay, so they stay monitoring and anticipating cyber threats based on the emerging trends in the world. So there's now AI. So TIA will go ahead and look for what are the potential problems that AI can cause and help the organization prepare against it. So they say, oh, there's now everybody moving to cloud. A TIA will go ahead and look for what can be the issues that we'll find with cloud and go ahead and prepare for it and give reports to the organization to help the organization stay ahead of potential cloud security issues. Do you understand? As I say, it's actually like the cherry on top of every role. Like you can add it to any role and shine with it. Do you get? That's how beautiful the TIA role is. Now, what are the critical skills you actually need to thrive? Because it's one thing to know that, oh, I'll be great as a I'll do amazing rather as a GRC analyst, or I'll do really great as a pen tester, or I believe I'll do amazing or awesome as a security engineer. What are the other skills that I know that you need to thrive in this field? First and foremost, you need persistence. You cannot start a task or an exercise or an engagement and say, oh, I'm tired, I'm not doing it again, and then you say you want to walk off. No, you have to stick with it. You have to understand that it takes time. There's a running joke in cybersecurity community. When the syntax is not working, just close your PC. Go and drink Gary. If you're Nigerian, you know what Gary is, right? Drink Gary water. Or if you're not Nigerian, you can go and drink very, very cold water and just take a nap. When you wake up, that thing that seemed insurmountable would now look as simple as possible, because now you have clarity, right? You have a clear mind, you are able to think better, you're able to see where the issues are better. Yeah. So there is actually no role you want to work within, whether it is in the not regular world or in cybersecurity, that you would not need persistence. Yeah. You can ask Chris right now, right? Chris, am I right? You can ask Chris right now and say, hi, Chris, in data engineering, do you not need to stay with the data and understand what it is trying to say? Am I correct, Chris? You need to stay with data, right? You need to know what he's trying to say. You need to understand what he's trying to say. And you need to be able to interpret what he's trying to say to the non-technical people. Am I correct? I'm waiting on Chris or anyone that is into data to respond. Beautiful. So that's the same thing. So it means that you are now bringing your skill set as a data engineer into cybersecurity, right? Great. Okay. So the next skill you also need is what I like to call critical thinking. So I like to say something. I like to say that there is thinking. There's regular thinking, and then there's cybersecurity thinking, or there's regular thinking and there's tech type of thinking. So normally you'd say, oh, okay, 1 + 1 is equal to 2. At a point in mathematics, we actually know that 1 + 1 actually is equal to 1, or what we call 1 factorial. Somebody else will say, that's wrong math. It's actually correct math. So the same thing occurs with cybersecurity. You're looking at a problem and you're thinking, oh, like I think the story was a story of the 3 blind men and the elephant. And then one person touched the tail and said, oh, it looks like a long strappy rope that coils around your fingers. One person touched the body or the back and said, oh, it's a long wall that goes all the way up and doesn't seem to have an end. And one touched the trunk, as is the face area, and said, no, it's a thick kind of tree, what's it called, stump, that seems to stand like a tree, but it does not have legs. Now, because they had seen it from their touch alone, they're not able to actually see the bigger picture. Bear in mind, they're actually blind. But with cybersecurity, you have to sit with it. You have to properly analyze the issue and use your findings, especially with your research and your gathering of what's it called, to now profile a solution to your organization. That's where critical thinking comes in. So you're not just looking at a problem as a problem alone. You're looking at a problem as, okay, now it's the problem that is looking like this. What happens in the future when it changes how it looks, but it's still the same problem? Yeah, critical thinking. And I promise you, there is no field you work in currently that you don't need critical thinking. Whether you are in healthcare, whether you are in data, whether you are in oil and gas, wherever you are coming into cybersecurity from, every skill set, especially when it comes to how you think, how you analyze problems, and how you fix those problems, are actually going to come to bear in cybersecurity. Thank you, Stanley, for validating what I have said so far. Thank you so much. Well done. Thank you. Now, like I said before, because you have critical thinking, you are able to creatively solve problems. Because I promise you, problems will come that you'll be like, but I know this thing. I understand this thing. But because you are overwhelmed, maybe you are mentally stressed and everything, you don't know how to fix it, or you've not figured out how to use the non-regular solutions to find a solution to the current problem. In cybersecurity, you eventually realize that you are able to think outside of the box because you have learned how to use that box properly. You're learned how to think within the box. So now you're able to now step out of your comfort zone and think outside of the box. So yes, you're not going to be able to do what we call creative problem solving. And I promise you, it is still the sets you have, that is the skills you have, that are going to bring to bear. Yeah, there's nothing really new you're bringing in beyond honing up your skill that you currently have. Now, another skill you're going to be having or needing is adaptability and flexibility. I promise you, nobody wants to not sleep. Nobody wants to be called at 2 a.m. and be told that we can't find our database. Nobody wants to be called at 1 a.m. or 7 a.m. and told that the CEO would like to see you because he thinks he has clicked something on his PC. I promise you, if you talk to 10 CIOs, or as in chief information officers or chief security information officers, they will tell you that the absolute worst thing you can tell them is that our files are locked. The way these people will panic is hilarious to watch. But the beauty of being cybersecurity is that as you are panicking, you are trying to figure out, do I have backups? Yes, I have backups. Can we lock out the entry points? Yes, we are lock it out. That's the beauty of cybersecurity. As you are panicking and thinking of the problem, you are also on the spot, being flexible, you're adapting to the problem, and you're finding problem solutions to that problem. You notice that all of these skills are actually working hand in glove together, right? To make you an awesome professional in the field, right? So it's not like, oh, I can only have critical thinking. I don't need to have adaptability and flexibility. I promise you, you do. I promise you, you do. Especially if you work in SecOps, for instance, you work in the SOC environment, you are on a night shift. Remember I told you that it's a consistent monitoring environment, right? So it's 24/7 kind of environment. So people work in shifts. People work in shifts. People working from 2 to 10, from 10 to 8, from 8. It's a shift kind of thing. Do you understand? Now imagine that you are now handing over to somebody that you now forgot to tell the person that, oh, whilst I was logging in earlier, I noticed a suspicious login attempt. I fixed it, but I noticed it. And then because you didn't tell your colleague, they now went to go and maybe on quarantined that workstation that you quarantined initially. That's problematic for you. But because you have learned to adapt, you are flexible, you are good on your feet, you are able to call them back and say, oh, please leave that thing logged in because these are the reasons why we locked them out of our environment. And then they also go along with your decision because they know that you didn't just make it lightly. Now, yes, we have persistence. We have critical thinking. Yes, we have creative problem solving skills. We have become adaptable and flexible. But the one thing that you can never take away from being in cybersecurity or in any area, I believe in any field at all, is stress management. You need to learn to log off. You would need to learn to take a step back and go and sleep. So one of my participants reached out to me and she was like, hi, Oluwatobi. I'm so what's the word? I think she used the word snazzy right now. I don't know what it was she meant to say, but she went on to say that she was already snapping at her loved ones. And I was like, I really like you, my sister. Shut down your PC and go and sleep. I will call you in 3 hours and I need you to have slept by that time. If you pick my call, I know you're not sleeping. Do you understand? And she was like, oh, no, I want to finish. I said, you cannot finish it at this point because if you do it right now, you will do the wrong things. Okay? So another thing I'm going to be learning is the ability to manage your stress, to manage yourself. Because you cannot be saying, oh, I want to do this now. I want to do that now. I promise you. There's a saying in Africa, I believe, that they say, if you don't rest your body will rest itself. So either it rests itself in death or in forced sickness or sleep. So cybersecurity, you're going to also be learning how to manage your stress, how to pace yourself, how to ensure that you are giving your best while still taking care of yourself. Yeah, and also being able to deliver, because you'll be amazed that there's some days when you'll be in a SOC and as you are hearing that somebody's PC has been broken into by brute force attacks, so you are hearing that your CFO but with the aim of sending out financial reports, mistakenly clicked on a link that was sent to him or her that they should put in the report there, and it was a malicious link, and they are what's it called, has been taken over. So their station has been encrypted, and they're asking for ransom. As you are hearing that one, somebody is calling you and telling you that, oh, please, I believe that there is malicious network going on, or traffic going on within our network. That's like one of the most weirdest places to be in cybersecurity, right? There are so many things going on at the same time. Now, the beauty of being able to manage your stress is being able to breathe, take a step back, adapt, be flexible, and still manage to log off when you need to, while still ensuring that you are fixing the issues as they come up. Do you understand? Great. So another thing you also need, a critical skill you also need, is continuous learning. Now, I believe I said it before when I was congratulating Oluwatobi that I also am a 3-time, what's it called, AWS certified person, right? Now, the thing about being certified is that it means that you have to consistently learn. Am I correct? It means that you have to constantly go back to your books. It means that even after you have finished learning with us and you have gotten the job and you are great at your job, you cannot rest on your oars. You have to keep upskilling. What I mean by keep upskilling is not that you have to carry big book after again. No. You look at what area you want to be in, and you sit it and you be like, okay, I have come in cybersecurity right now. I started in ethical. Let me make you all laugh. So I started in ethical hacking. After like a year, I was like, I'm not sure I like this anymore. It's monotonous, it's stressful. I'm not able to sleep properly. And then I said, okay, let me try SOC. I spent about 3 months in SOC. I ran because I had shifts, right? I have people that love it because of how it allows them to think. Yeah. I was like, nah, I cannot sit in one space for 12 hours straight, even though obviously you can stand up and move around and all of that, right? Now, I now said, okay, let me try GRC. I did GRC for, I think, I worked in this GRC space for about, I think 4 or 5 or 6 months thereabouts. And it was not that it wasn't fun. It was that for me, it was a lot of talking, a lot of convincing. And I am a fan of, I've told you this is the problem. I've told you that it's going to cost you money if you don't fix it now. Why do I need to come and start convincing you again? I don't have that strength, I beg. So because of that, I knew that this was not the space for me, right? Yes, I am jovial, I'm friendly and all of that, but I don't have the patience to be trying to convince grown people that what I'm recommending for them will actually help them. When my friends will say, it is not like as though if they give you that money for the budget, you will spend it personally. It is still going to be spent on the organization, right? So because of that mentality, I knew that, I cannot work in as a GR specialist, right? So I now took myself and I went back. So I did a stint in digital forensics, actually. I didn't stay there long because it required me sitting with disks, with imaging and reviewing information. I'm not a detective kind of person. I have a lot of fun regarding information, being able to find people, find things, being able to what's it called, match this information with this thing I have gathered. So I have a lot of fun being a TIA, and I realized that I can combine being a TIA with being a pen tester and having information security knowledge. So now, what Princess wants to be, I'm an all-rounder, but my favorite area is purple teaming, or you can say a leaning towards red teaming. But I was able to do that because I was consistently and constantly learning, constantly putting myself out there, taking opportunities. I believe, that nowadays, a lot of these organizations are offering micro courses that will not help in the long run because they won't do a deep dive. They just give surface learning. But surface learning will only work if you have proper foundation, if you have a proper understanding of what you are working with. Right? So that's exactly what it is. You continue learning, you continue upskilling, you follow up with the trends. You are looking at the news, you are reading the news, you are keeping yourself up to date. It is a very, very important part in cybersecurity. Because of the fact that cybersecurity is a field where the threats are constantly emerging. As you are building a defense for a problem right now, and you don't even finish building the defense. The attackers are building a new threat or a new attack vector, a new way of attacking organizations. So you finish building, you find out that, oh, they can come in through the gaps in the gates. Then you cover the gaps in the gates. Then as your welder is finishing the covering of the gap in the gate, you realize that they can actually come in through the gap underneath the gate. Oh, wow. You have to go back and call your welder, or you yourself actually block that gap underneath your gate. As you're blocking that one, you realize that there's a gap in your wall pillars that they can wiggle in through. You have to go back there. And so that means that you have to consistently be up to date with what is happening in the cybersecurity field, right? And then you also have to, prioritize accuracy and attention to details. You cannot do guesswork a lot. Yes, you can guess when you're trying to attack or trying to do something that involves red teaming or pen testing, because the goal is to try and imitate how an attacker will behave, right? But generally, you have to also make sure that whatever you are doing, you understand it, and you understand the reason why you're doing these things. That is attention to details and accuracy. All right? Great. Now, you also, like I said before, make sure that you are consistently up to date by following the news, following the trends, reading up on articles, reading up on posts on the different social media platforms about what is going on in the cybersecurity field, so that when you are asked questions or when something's happened, you're able to say, oh, yeah, I heard about the crowd know before issue that occurred recently, or I heard about the M&S issue that happened very recently where they were attacked by cyber attackers, or I heard about the Coinbase issue where the Coinbase organization said they had backup, so they put an own reverse on the attackers. These are things that happened in the course of just 3-4 days ago. Yeah, they got attacked. Attackers said they wanted money to release their data, and they told them, no, rather than give you the money, we will pay bug bounty hunters to find you and give them that money. Same thing that happened with Big Byte. I mean, what's that crypto company called, right? So I know all of these things because I stay updated about the news and I engage with people in the community. And another thing, like I've been saying so far, is documentation. So there's an ongoing joke in cybersecurity where they say, oh, you were told to come and do something in cybersecurity, right? Maybe do a vulnerability assessment or a pen test exercise, for instance. And then you scanned, you did all that work. You went to gather information, you scanned, you exploited what you have found, you enumerated what you found, you use what you enumerated to perform what we call post-exploitation techniques and tactics. You were able to stay in that environment without anybody knowing you were still there. And then when the stakeholder and say, okay, hi, Stanley, come and tell us what you found. There's no record. Or they say, hi, Kristen, come and show us how what you found is problematic. There's no proof. There's no screenshots, no steps to reproduce, no proof of concept, nothing. So basically, all that your hard work that you have done so far is just you performing for a what's it called, or an honors of one. And that means that at the end of the day, you don't have proof. And if you are not a very mindful person that don't even have written permissions, for instance, it means that you might end up being legally litigated against. That is, they might sue you and claim that, oh, you were a cyber criminal that was trying to gain access into their space, and so therefore you need to be sued. Now, it might seem like all fun and games, but I promise you, it actually happens. That's why we emphasize on documenting as you go, as in whatever area or whatever niche you find yourself in cybersecurity. And then the last but not the least, and the most important part and skill in cybersecurity is collaboration and communication. Now, when I say communication, I mean clear communication. Why? Because it's one thing to tell me as the CEO and tell me that, oh, myself, at least maybe myself, Oluwatobi Akinrele, Princess, Kondile, and say Abiodun, for instance, worked on an engagement for organization. And then maybe Abiodun was working on monitoring part of the organization's sector, and I was working on checking for potential threats, and Kondile was working on gathering information about the organization, and say Princess was working on something else, and then we're not communicating to ourselves. When it's time to present, we would sound like a cacophony or people that don't know what they're doing, even though we are professionals in our field. Why? Because one, we didn't collaborate, two, we didn't communicate. Okay, but when we have our findings in one space, we all talk together, we all understand what we're doing, we're able to relate what Konde is doing to what Abiodun is doing, to what I have done, to what Chris has done, to what Chris is doing, and what Stanley has done. As a team, we are able to present a united front and give precise information to the organization that we are working with. That's why all of these skills are like a continuation of each other. They work hand in glove with each other, and they are a very amazing thing to have. And why I keep saying that I believe we already have a large number of these skills is because you cannot function in any field without having a large number of these skills already. Okay, so basically you just bringing in those skills in cybersecurity and building on them and making them match what you currently do in cybersecurity. Right? Great. Now, we mentioned the different areas you can work in cybersecurity, but I promise you that's not even the half of what you can do in cybersecurity. You can work as a security awareness analyst. So instead of just doing compliance alone or being a GRC analyst, your focus can be, okay, I am going to be making sure that I'm able to develop and implement educational programs for organizations that they will use to train their staff to make them aware of phishing campaigns, social engineering campaigns. I don't know if you have been seeing the ads from Airtel and AT&T and all these organizations that are telling you about how attackers are now coming after people with hooked up stories, right? Good. So that's what a security awareness analyst does. They would help organizations build these programs and help them know how to implement them to educate both their staff and their clients. Do you understand? Now it seems like, oh, I'm not doing anything inside Kali or Linux or anything. Yes, your job in this kind of scenario, in this kind of space, is to make sure that everybody understands how bad it would be if attackers get access to your login details, and they're able to access your banking app, or they're able to access your email account, or they're able to access your credit score and spoil your ability to get mortgage or buy your own house in the nearest future, right? That's exactly what you're doing, an amazing job as a security awareness analyst if you are able to do this properly, right? And you are going to be able to do that when you niche down, right? Another thing you can also be is a cloud security analyst. Now, at this point, you have already understood everything about cybersecurity when it comes to foundational parts. You're able to, or you've already gotten your role, and then you're like, okay, let me go ahead and specialize and focus strictly in cloud. Now, let me make you laugh. So you see within the cloud environment, we have cloud security analyst, that is the cloud SOC analyst, we have the cloud pen tester, we have the cloud threat intelligence analyst. We have, so it's basically like saying every role we have mentioned before, right? But instead of it being in with what's it called, physical devices or data that you can see within a particular disk, now everything's about the cloud, right? So it's about cloud platforms. At this point, you're saying, okay, while I'm working in AWS, my goal is to ensure that I'm able to pen test within the given scope of what I'll be asked to do on the AWS platform. Now, you are on a cloud platform, right? You are helping them to pen test that platform. You can also go ahead and be a cloud security engineer. You can also be, like, there's so many things you can be within the cloud that it's a lot of fun to be. So basically, you taking what you currently have and then moving laterally into the cloud. So a lot of people says, okay, I come into cybersecurity, I learn cybersecurity, but I already have cloud certifications. So that means that now she can combine. I don't know if a lot of people is a lady or a man. I apologize if I'm calling you a lady. I'm a lady, so I think we are usually ladies. So apologies, please. But a lot of people can then say, oh, they would like to combine their cloud knowledge with their cybersecurity knowledge and become a force to be reckoned with. That's an amazing thing, isn't it? Great. Okay. You can also be a user access manager. So what that means is that you are the person that is helping the organization to control who has access to what within the environment and how long they are staying there, and enforcing their the ability for people to stay there for too long and cause mayhem. Okay, so once they stay there too long, you throw them out. Okay, you don't need to be here longer than this. So whether it is the CFO, whether it's the CEO, whether it is the regular cleaner, whatever they are required to access is the only thing that they're going to be accessing because of your job. Okay, like the monitor, but for users. Okay, then another role you can also play is the DevSecOps engineer. So at this point, you understand SecOps, that is security analysis and SOC analysis, right? So you can now go further and combine being a security engineer and a SOC analyst and become what we call a DevSecOps engineer. So basically what you're doing is that you are working with both development, as in the developers and the security professionals and the operations team, to ensure that everything that they are building for the organization has security first in its building or in its principles. So it's not like after they finish building an application, they're not scrambling to make it secure. No, as they are building an application, they're making it secure because you are there with them along the way to ensure this. Okay, last but not least, we have the network administrator. And here you are combining your knowledge of network security, application security, everything you have gotten and gained so far, to ensure that you are able to keep the network environment of the organization pretty safe. And this means that, like Princess, you are typically what we refer to as a generalist with a leaning towards networking. Okay, great. Now, we have talked so much about all the roles that we can achieve and everything, but let us look at, okay, we said there are about 3.5 million roles available, right? How do we know this? We didn't just pick the number out of thin air. We actually went to do our research. Remember, we're about strategy into analytics. We don't just say things. We actually do our findings before we say things. Yeah. So we found that in 2025, the monetary damage that has been caused by cyber attackers and so on and so forth, especially as reported as the IC3, has seen that over the course of about 10 years or more, or less rather, it has gone from being $3 trillion to about $10.5 trillion, and the cost is rising by the day. If you factor in the most recent attacks, remember that we're not even at the midpoint of the year yet, right? Factor in the most recent attacks, realize that it has already passed about 15 trillion in loss for organizations, right? And as of 2023, we know that, okay, there were about 1 million plus jobs, and there were about less than 400,000 people that were trained and ready to work. Now, we went to do our research and found out that as of 2025, it has even increased. So it didn't double, it tripled, right? So that means that we found out that there were actually 3.5 million plus openings for jobs in cybersecurity as of 2025, I think January or February, beginning of January of 2025, right? And we found this from the cybersecurity job report that's made available every year. Okay, we didn't just pick it out of thin air. We didn't just say, oh, yeah, it's possible. We did our research. So now that we know that there is actually an opening for us, and we can actually not just do cybersecurity, but we can actually pick an area that suits our personality, our likes, our moral codes, and whatnot, how do we get started? Right? How exactly do we go from being regular people to being cybersecurity professionals that know their onions? Okay, this is where we come in. And what do? We help you to select the right path. Okay, now how do we do this? Okay, we do three things. We help you to choose to do three things here. First and foremost is learn. Yeah, so in the course of learning, you are learning exactly how to do the different things within cybersecurity. You're learning the skills, you're learning the tools, you're learning the techniques, you're learning everything that is involved with being a proper and well-grounded cybersecurity professional. We give you all of that and we help you focus. Okay, so we are giving you both theory, practical, and projects-like kind of training. So you're not just, oh, I know cybersecurity is A, B, C, D. I know that I can do this, I can do that. No, you can actually show proof with the tools you work with and the techniques you use with those tools to get the best of the best. Okay, now when you have finished learning, we then help you package yourself. Okay, so it's one thing to know the skill, it's another thing to be job ready. So we make you job ready by packaging you with CV revamps and reviews, with LinkedIn optimizations, with mentorship sessions, with interview preparations, with job references. And then when you get the job, we then give you on-the-job support. And then we then also go as far as helping you to apply for this job. What I mean by helping you is we'll help you to get job opportunities that you can then go ahead to apply for, because now you have proper CVs, you have optimized LinkedIn accounts, you have been mentored, you have been prepared mentally and skill wise, so you know your onions. So you then go ahead and apply for the job that we have helped you to get gather, and then you get the job. That's our goal. You get that job. You don't go anywhere without getting that job. Okay, now we said so much about the fact that, oh, cybersecurity is cybersecurity that, but like I said before, we don't just tell you these things with the word of mouth. We actually go ahead and use the reports that are existent in today's day and age to show you what we know is the truth. So based off of the World Economic Forum reports that you can also download here if you want, is the fact that if you look at my screen here, there's two sides on my screenshots. There is the right side that has a lot of blue, a lot of small blues, and then there's the left side that has a lot of bigger blue bars. So on the left side are the jobs that are expected to grow between now and 2030, and on the right side are jobs that are expected to either go out of phase out or become low paid or low quality type jobs in the next 5 years. And if you look at my highlights, you realize that cybersecurity roles, that is information security analysts, Internet of Things specialist, that is a cybersecurity professional that focuses on securing devices and smart devices and all of that, as well as security management specialists, that is people that deal with the SOC environment in different forms that it comes in, are actually topping the lists of jobs that are expected to grow and expected to become more popular and more, what's it called, an increase in the coming 5 years, or from now to 5 years, you're going to be seeing a lot more roles like this. And why is that? This is because these are actually people that are going to be like the police, the digital police of the internet and of the cyberspace. So obviously you need more people to help you safeguard the internet. There's so many things going on per time that require safeguarding. Am I correct? So now that we understand that, yes, we are on the right path, yes, we are going to be doing amazing things, we have a 6-step strategy that we use at Analytics to help you go from being in the classroom to landing your job. Okay, and how do we do this? I want to use, let me see. Okay, I have Fumi, I have Ibilola, I have Maruf. Okay, let me use Maruf. So Maruf comes and Maruf says, hi, Oluwatobi, or hi, Analytics. I'd like to be a full-on cybersecurity talent. Okay, so now you know that you want to be cybersecurity talent. Now our job is to take you from wanting to know to actually being that, right? So what we do is we first of all help you to learn the skills. And how do we do that? We do what we call a blended approach. So we use our self-paced learning material, that is the LMS, that is our learning management system, to teach you, as well as live and instructor-led classes. So as you are having your lessons on the LMS, you're also having drop-in sessions, you're having live classes, you're having sessions where you come and learn about how to do the soft skill part of your role. So not just about the hard skills, but as well as the soft skills. And then we then go ahead to enforce or to reinforce your knowledge by helping you to do or teaching you to do projects that will give you project-based experience. And this is not just by word of mouth, right? By filling the attendance form, you are going to get access to this to this material, and you're going to be able to click on this portfolio. These are portfolios of people that I have trained that are actually doing great in their field currently, and they built portfolios whilst they were in class. So from the first day of class, we are already telling you about your portfolio. By the first 2 months, you've already build your portfolio, you're already adding your projects to it as you go along. So for every area you're learning, you're doing a project, you're adding a project to your portfolio, and you are making sure that you have a properly written report that will be able to tell the story of what you have worked on with regards to your project. Then when you are done with that, we then help you to go ahead and gain employable skills or employability skills. How do we do that? Like I said before, we'll revamp your CV. And what the CV will do is now talk about the skills you have gained, how you have worked with it, and how it translates into you being the best things in toast bread that the organization that wants to employ you can have in their environment. And then we'll also help you to optimize your LinkedIn, teach you how to optimize your LinkedIn to the point where once a recruiter sees your LinkedIn, they're like, okay, yeah, yes, Stanley knows what he's saying. Yes, Maruf knows what he's saying. He is obviously good at what he's doing because I can see from his portfolio and his LinkedIn and his CV that he knows or they know their onions. Okay, then we'll also help you navigate the job market. And how do we do that? We'll help you by bringing job opportunities to you. So we bring job offers to you. We have what we call open job offers on your classroom regularly, I think on a weekly basis. Yeah, that means that you don't even have to start hunting for jobs yourself. You just go into your classroom, you go through the jobs, you pick the one that matches your location or your preference, and you apply for those jobs. And then when you apply for those jobs and you get called for an interview, we then help you prepare with what we call mock interviews that are very, very stringent. I promise you, because I am actually one of the people that will also help you prepare for your interviews, right? So we would make you feel like you're already interviewing, so you know you have to come correct. We tell you what to fix, what to do better, what to keep doing, right? And you would go ahead and use what you have taught you to ace your interviews and get the job. And now when they now ask you, okay, who can vouch for you, right? We then go ahead and give you job reference letters that would help you to secure and stay on the job. And then once you're on the job and you're doing amazingly well on that job, and you need us to give you any form of support that is within our purview, we then go ahead and give you that support. And then the beauty of all of this is that because you are in a community of people, we'll also be encouraging and helping you to network and give you mentorship. So as you are learning, you're also having mentorship sessions that is also guiding you consistently. So you're not left at any point in time to just say, oh, do it by yourself. No. Nobody just tells you to do it by yourself. That's not possible. And the purpose of this is so that at the end of the day, you get the job. Right? That's like the end goal. You get the job. Great, isn't it? Nice. Okay. So I have spoken so much so far, but now let me ask you my favorite kind of question. So we have talked about the different things that you can do as a cybersecurity professional, right? And then one day I just call Faith, for instance, and I'm like, oh, hi Faith, I'm going to be sending Kelvin with a car for you. It's actually a fairly new car, like it was 2024 model, but there's a slight issue with that car that you need somebody to fix for you, right? And Damnare comes and says, oh, I know somebody, I know Philomena can do the car. She finished from Harvard. She has MSc, she has a PhD in view and all of that. And then maybe someone now says, oh no, me, I know that Violet is an experienced and very, very skilled mechanic. And yes, she didn't go to Harvard, but she has worked with Aston Martin, she has worked with Benz, she's really good at it. She has a large experience with different kinds of engines and all of that. And you're now asked to now pick one person amongst the two of them to fix this almost new car that I'm sending to you. Please, who will you pick? The person that went to Harvard, that has the theoretical knowledge that is actually, don't get me wrong, they are really good, or theoretically anyways, or the person that has the skill sets, the experience with different kinds of engines, and that have been proven with projects that they have done previously to be knowledgeable in this area. Who would you pick to fix the car? Who would you pick to fix your car? Oh, thank you, Damilari. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's amazing. I thought the same thing too, right? Thank you, Philomena. Thank you, thank you. Amazing, amazing. So knowing now that you would pick the person with the skill over, thank you, Princess. Thank you, thank you. So you're going to pick the person that has the skill over the person that has this, that has the certificate. It's not because the certificate is bad, right? Thank you, Faith. It's because you know that, yes, certificate is good, but this other person has the skills, they know it, they have worked with it, they have projects they can use to show you that they can handle this particular task. So you are not even worried about how it will turn out, because you can see from their previous projects that they can do it. Yeah. Thank you, Violet. Thank you so much. Yes. So like I like to say, it is actually going to seem quite impossible until it has been done. I believe that a lot of us were in the beginning of this session where my colleague was playing our testimonial videos about how people were getting their jobs while still learning with us and after finishing internships and co, right? And when you get this resource, I want you to go ahead and watch Adedayo's video about how he got his job when he had not even finished the program. Okay, thank you, Maruf. Thank you, Maruf. Yes, he had finished the program and he was able to get his job. Amazing. Because the goal is to teach you with projects so that as you are being asked interviews that can you work with Nmap, you say yes. Have you worked with Metasploit? Oh, yes, I can. Or can you work with this tool? Yes. Can you work with that tool? Yes. I did A, B, C, D, and E with this tool whilst I was with analytics or whilst I was with the internship company, right? Now, the goal of the purpose of this entire training is to make sure that every skill you learn with us will actually land you the job in 2025. And now, why am I so sure of this? I'm sure because you know that your role basically means that you are the one that is being the protector, right, of the organization that you are working with. Essentially, you're their digital security man, right? And we then go ahead to make sure that everything you learn in class actually is focused in such a way that it gives you the skill sets to be able to do everything you need to do to properly function as a professional. And how do we do that? We focus first and foremost on the foundation, right? How do we do that? We teach you the beginnings of cybersecurity. We teach you about networking. And I promise you, there's nobody you want to ask right now that will tell you that, oh, you can be cybersecurity professional without understanding a little bit of what networking is about. Because you're securing the cyberspace, you're securing the internet. And internet is actually the connection of the web, right? It's a network of webs, right? So if you don't understand networking, how then do you want to protect the network? Abby? Okay, then we go ahead and teach you the basics of incident detection and response. Then we now go into SOC analysis. We teach you the basics. Then we teach you an in-depth, what's it called, exploration of the tools, techniques, and exactly how it occurs. Then we teach you threat intelligence. Obviously, we teach the basics first before we take you in-depth. Then we teach you pen testing or penetration testing, and teach you about ethics, about tools, about technologies, about procedures and processes. And then we now take you into GRC, where we teach you about the basics of governance, of risk management, and of compliance, and teach you about standards, about frameworks, about tools and technologies. And then we now go further to teach you about policies, risk management matrices, and the governing and regulatory laws that are bound. So depending on your location, you then go ahead and do research and then teach you about what applies where you are. All right. Now, we don't just leave it at just the learning areas alone. We also use the tools as well. So we're talking about your virtual box, your Metasploit, your Bob Suit, your Kali, your Zap, your Whois, your Wazo, your Splunk, your Just. And the goal is to make sure that you are an all-rounder. By the time you are leaving our training program, you are so well grounded that there is no role that pops up that you're not able to say, I believe I can handle this role. I believe with my skill set, I can handle this role. And then you are able to comfortably call these figures in terms of what would you like as a remuneration. So you're kind of, they're asking you, oh, what would that cost to pay you? You can confidently say, oh, I'd like about $150,000 per year. You can say it with your full confidence because you know that you have the skill set to back asking for that kind of money. Not because the money is a lot, but because you know you're bringing your A game to bear, right? Now, how do our classes run? Okay, so we have Saturday classes, which are our live classes, and we have it in two sessions. So we have for people in EU, in the UK, in Africa. So we have their classes in the morning. It is 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West African time. So it's convenient for them. And then for those of us in NA, as Canada and the US and other parts of Americas, we have the classes for 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. West African time, which is usually 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. to about 2 p.m., depending on what the daylight savings is saying at that point in the year, right? Then on Sundays, we have the self-paced where you go and watch what we call the Watch Me Do It video. That is where you go and use your LMS to continue your learning. Now, how long is our program? Our program is actually a 6-month training program where you actively learn for 6 months, and then you go into the internship program for 2 months. Now, the beauty of working with us or learning with us is that you have that unique opportunity of being able to say, I trained with analytics and I consulted with analytics. I also went ahead to work for Amdari. So basically, you're able to show work experience of 2 different organizations with your CV. Okay, and that's beautiful because it shows that not only were you able to work in one space and excel, you're also able to go into another space and also do amazing things. Now, because of this, you're able to now say that, okay, now I can say I'm able to combine my technical skills with my employability skills, and obviously it will automatically give me what? My job offer. Now, how do we help you stand out at analytics? We give you, like I said before, employability skills. And how do we do that? We have your CV reviews and the ramp, right? We have your LinkedIn optimization. We have your helping you navigate the job market by helping you to bring job offers to your classroom. You don't have to do the work of looking for them yourself. Then we go ahead and help you to prepare for the interviews. We help you with the reference letters for your jobs. And then we give you on-the-job support. And then we also go ahead to give you weekly mentorship sessions. And to top it all off, if you decide I do not want to have to always go into the office and all of that, we also teach you how to use Upwork. So we do the Upwork optimization. So you're not stuck with having to absolutely work in an office. You can decide and say, oh, because I have freelancer skills, I have been taught how to be a freelancer, I can then go ahead and use Upwork to get my jobs. Amazing, isn't it? Now, I've been saying so much about the fact that we actually help you bring jobs to you. I'm not joking. Okay, we give you access to weekly job posts because we actually have our callers that go ahead and bring in these jobs every week. If you look at my screenshot, you realize that this is actually from about less than 2 weeks ago. And that means that we don't give you jobs that are already closed, right? Openings that are already closed or jobs that are no longer available or usable. We actually give you roles that you can actively apply for, get on, and see it through to the end. So it's not like, oh, and they gave me an opening that I can no longer apply for because at this point in time, what's the word? It is closed. And yes, Larry, you will get a job posting for people in Canada. You get for remote roles. You would also get for people in the UK. It doesn't matter where you are. Job posting will always be added here. And everything that the job requires will also be included there, as well as the link to which you're going to apply and submit your applications. Okay? So we're not going to just leave you stranded and all of that. No. If you look at this screenshot, you realize that it is very, it's quite detailed. The role, where it is located, whether it's going to be, you have to be clearing the location or not, is it going to be on-site or off-site, and then the link to apply. So even before you open the link, you already know what the role, you have an idea of what the role is about. That's how amazing we do it in analytics. Okay, now to top it all off, we have a personalized learning AI assistant, I is referred to as Oluko, that as you are learning on the LMS, you can take advantage of it and ask it to explain in more details or explain further whatever your tutor is teaching about on your LMS. So maybe you're learning about malware analysis, for instance, and maybe at some point you get a little bit confused or you're not sure of what the facilitator means by what they have said so far. And you can go ahead and say, hi, Oluko, I'd like you to explain further what my facilitator means by static analysis and how it is done. Oluko will then go ahead and break it down for you further and explain to you further what you are currently learning on that LMS. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that great? Okay, let me quickly show you our certificate of auto accreditation from the ACTD. So I'm not just telling you with word of mouth that we are accredited, I'm also showing you. Now, when you receive these resources, you can actually click on this link here to view our accreditation. Okay, now that you have learned about how to specialize in cybersecurity, how to choose which role that matches your personality, your likes, your moral code, and whatnot, and what these roles actually entail, as well as how we will help you go from being a regular person to being a cybersecurity professional and having the skills to match any role you find in the job market. What are the next steps that you need to take to ensure that you are actually actively thriving in 2025? It's quite simple. You need to join our next cohort. Now, this cohort starts on the 7th of June, 2025, and it is going to be amazing. Don't take my word for it. Join the class and see the magic. Okay? Now, how is this going to happen? Classes are going to start on the 7th of June, and the actual full payment is actually $900. But remember, I told you at the beginning of this session that we're going to be offering you a special discount, right? Great. So now we are actually not going to pay the 900 anymore. You are going to have 20% off, and instead of the $900, you're going to be paying $750 for an entire 8-month program. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that an exciting thing to hear? Like, that's a whole, I don't know if I don't know my math properly, but that's about $150 off. I'm a Nigerian. If I convert to Naira, I know exactly how much that is. That's money for, that's money for one certification exam that I can pay for. That's exciting for me. I don't know if it's as exciting for you as it is for me, right? And how would you be able to go ahead and do this, right? You can even go ahead and actually do what we allow you're going to be paying in installments. So what I mean is that instead of having to pay all the 750 at once, we actually allow that you pay in installments. So you have 1 month full-time payment. You can pay all at once. Yeah, it's perfect. Works for us. But you can also pay in 2 installments. You can pay in 3 installments. You can pay in 4 installments and 5 installments. Now, all you have to do is click on this link, which is basically going to take you to the mainstack.me/enroll analytics, and go ahead and follow the pathway. Now, let me quickly change what I am sharing so that you are able to see exactly what I mean when I say you can literally do an easy walkthrough of how to pay. Yeah, let me show you real quick, Stanley. Let me take you to that page. I think my colleagues are also dropping the links on the what's it called? They're dropping the links on the chats that you're able to follow the link and see. But let me quickly change my orientation so that you can all see exactly how easy it is to go ahead and what's what I'm looking for now. You can go ahead and make that payment. All right, let's do this real quick. Okay, I want to change what I'm sharing so that you can see with me how much fun it is. All right, okay. So let me minimize this real quick and minimize this as well. Okay, so now when you click on this, okay, it will take you to our payment page. All right, I believe we can all see my screen. Please let me know that you can all see my screen and you can see that my, what's it called, is loading. My browser is loading, right? Enrollment page. And here you are able, oh, amazing. Thank you, Princess. Thank you. Okay, I'm waiting for this to finish so that we can get to it. All right, so the thing is, as this is loading, let me just quickly walk us through what else you are able to do with our space. So whilst you are on the page and you're about to pay and everything, if you are in the course of payment and you're not sure of what it is else you need to get clarity on, you can literally reach out to my colleagues Sheyi, Lydia, and other people to get more information about what it is you need clarity on. Like there's no, after you have made your payment, there's no, what's the word I'm looking for now? There's no rush to just go ahead and say, oh, I don't understand, so I think I'll just step back. No, don't just step back. Ask questions. You made your payments. You are ready to start the program, right? You need more clarity on something or the other. Reach out. We have our WhatsApp number on this landing page as well that allows you to reach out and to enable you to basically just ask questions of our staff and they will give you clarity. So you're saying, oh, yeah, I want cybersecurity, but for me, I prefer if I am able to also have A, B, C, D, and E. We'll be able to tell you that, yes, when you finish training, you can get and you can do this and this and this, or you can say, okay, I don't want to be a cybersecurity person, but I want to have the knowledge so that I can take that and work within, say, the tech space, for instance, right? You can go ahead and also do that. Let me quickly check our chat. Sorry. Yes. I'm going to ask my colleagues to share the link in all of our emails. So please make sure that you all actually, what's what I'm looking for now? You all actually fill the attendance form so that you are all able to get access to every resource that we have used in the course of today's learning. Now, we will definitely go back to that browser page, but I also want us to look at all that we as have achieved in the past few years. Like I said before, we don't just come and talk about ourselves a lot. We actually come with proof because we don't want to just believe that we say we can do it. No, we don't just say we can do it. We actually have done it. Yeah. And how am I able to show you that we have done it? If you look at my screen, you see that we have participants that currently work in all of these organizations. And I am not kidding. We have participants that currently work in MRS, in Zenith, in AXA Manzad, in Dangote, in Uber. I think we currently have one that got a job with Microsoft itself. Yeah, we have people that work with Revolt, with Amazon, with PwC, you name it, we have participants working there. And it's not just about, oh, Toby is trying to sweet talk us. No, it is actual facts. I promise you, it's actual facts that these are the things. Now, because of time, I don't want to keep us here longer than we have already stayed, right? I'm going to go back to that page. My hope is that we are able to actively start paying for our openings because I believe that for discounts, there's actually limited discount slots. I believe that usually we have about 30 to 40 per time. And because cybersecurity is not the only program that we run into analytics, usually we are only giving about 20 slots, right? So it's first come, first serve, obviously. So that means that whoever clicks and takes advantage of the discounts first are the ones that get those discounts. So I'd really encourage us to, as quickly as possible, go to the payments platform and start booking our slots by making our payments. So if you want to pay at once, please go ahead. If you want to make your first installment payment, please go ahead. Whilst on that page, it would actually show you your next date of payment, to show you the amount in your currency. So in the currency part, you can pick Nigeria, you can pick the US, you can pick the UK. So to show you the equivalent of your payment in your currency. So if you're in Qatar, for instance, it will show you the currency you're going to be paying, the value of what you're going to be paying in your own currency. I think it's dinar, I'm not sure, right? So no matter what country you're in, it doesn't limit you to only paying in dollars. Yeah, because it's a main stack platform that is very versatile. You're able to pay with your own currency. Yeah. So like I said, it's come one, come all. Okay, great. I hope we have all actually had fun on this session. I hope we have all learned about how you can actually utilize what you currently do and who you currently are in cybersecurity field and not worry about, oh, I'm not an outgoing person, so I can't be a cybersecurity professional, or worry about, oh, I don't like code, so I'm not professional cybersecurity professional, or I don't like sitting in front of a screen for too long, so I don't think I'll be a cybersecurity professional. I promise you, whatever it is that you actually like and whatever it is that you enjoy doing, and whatever your personality type is, there is a role for you in cybersecurity. So I'd really love to see you all in class by the beginning of this course. Okay, do we have any questions? Do we have anything that you'd like me to answer before we call it an evening? Thank you so much, Violet. Thank you so much, everyone. Please do not hesitate to use these links to take advantage of our discount, and also fill the attendance forms that my colleagues have dropped so that you also get access to these resources as well as this recording. And I hope to see you all in class in June. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Damilare. Thank you, Violet. Thank you, Princess. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Stanley. Thank you, Veronica. Thank you all very much. Everybody I did not mention you not because I didn't want to, but because of time. Thank you so much for sticking with me throughout this session and learning with me. Yes, yes, Princess, you do not have to like maths to do cybersecurity. You do not have to like maths. You don't even have to enjoy maths, cybersecurity. That's how fun it is. One of my best friends, cybersecurity, came in with mass communication. Another one was a food and nutrition professional before she became cybersecurity professional. So it's a come all field, and you would absolutely enjoy it. Thank you, Opeoluwa. Thank you, Veronica. Thank you, Princess. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Bibiano. Thank you, Bibiano, for sticking with me. I hope you all had fun in this session. I will see us all in class. Take care, everyone, and bye for now.